it's Arrow, and let's talk about dynazenon episode 6. As it turns out, Yume's sister was dating a popular boy in her class prior to her death, and it seems that some of the students became jealous, which was the inciting incident behind the death. Talking to the gang, Chise points out that if Yume's sister had been a bullying victim, the perpetrators would have likely cleared the evidence already, which I think gives further credence to the theory of Chise being a victim of harassment and self-harm. That night, Koyomi decides to grab a drink with Inamoto, and we get another flashback confirming that she was indeed showing him a corpse. Though, given where she found it, I'm pretty sure this isn't the body of Kano. Things get even more depressing when Inamoto's husband ends up joining them. Oh, and I just noticed Inamoto and Kano are both in the opening. Interesting. Chise discovers some strange object in Koyomi's room, and I have a suspicion of what this might be, so let's put a pin in that. Kano's classmate sends Yume some photos from before the suicide, in which she's the victim of some prank channel. Obviously what they show is relatively tame to what you might expect from YouTubers, but it does get the point across. Her classmates made her a target of online harassment. For a second I actually thought Kano was going to fall out of the window and that's how she died, but then I remembered they established her death from drowning previously. Now then, while obviously the prank shown isn't very mean-spirited, I do think that Kano's classmates pulling them on her may have contributed to her death. While she does appear to be fine with everything, it could just be her masking her true feelings for everyone else's sake. Understandably, Yumi is quite conflicted on whether or not the pranks led to her sister killing herself, and seeing some of her classmates teasing Yomogi the next day just makes things worse. Koyomi ends up going drinking with one of the kaiju eugenicists and she steals the Dyna Striker. Thankfully he gets it back in the funniest way possible. Also, apparently the giant hands on it still work in car mode. This episode's kaiju is certainly a good one. It looks like one of those two-person horse costumes, so rather cleverly it requires two people to control it. It also looks like a demented piñata. This fight is really good. Yomogi and Yume's emotional turmoils end up hindering dynazenon, allowing the kaiju to easily overpower them, forcing dynazenon down to the ground with its gravity powers. They also get to see the Dynarex mode in action, arguably the highlight of the battle. Unfortunately, even that isn't enough to take down the kaiju. But all of a sudden, just as the chips are down, a light shines in the sky, and from the heavens above, Gridman appears. And here's the part where I geek out because finally, we get the much anticipated connection to Gridman. The fact that dynazenon actually delivered a superhero crossover team-up instantly makes it better than any of the Marvel shows on Disney right now. Plus, Studio Trigger doesn't bootlick mainland Chinese people, so that's nice. Now, I know a lot of people, myself included, probably want Gridman himself to come back, but honestly I'm fine if it's just Grid Knight returning. After all, this might be a good time to show how well Grid Knight stands on his own. Anyways, let's talk about the thing Chise found in Koyomi's room. See, in Gridman, Grid Knight had a human form named Andy that was basically just a shattered glass Harad Gajinka. However, since this show seemingly takes place in a different setting than Gridman, it might be possible that this version of Grid Knight is a separate entity, and that it's actually being controlled by Chise using the object she found earlier. Again, those red eyes behind her in the opening point to that being a possibility. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.